So when I was 15, my mom was friends with our neighbor who had a fine-ass son who was about a year older than me. We were having dinner and she had invited them over without telling me. So they rang the doorbell and I opened the door wearing sweatpants and a baggy t-shirt with a messy bun with my troll-looking ass. I was in shock because he was wearing jeans with a nice t-shirt and dress shoes. I asked them what they were doing here and they told me that they were invited to dinner. I said, "Oh yeah, come inside," and I ran up to my room, got ready into nice jeans and a cute top because I'm trying to look good for my future man. Anyways, after dinner it was like 11 and pitch black outside, so my mom said that they could stay over the night. His mom stayed in the guest room and he had to stay in my room, which was very awkward because he had to sleep on the floor and I felt bad. I told him, and after a few minutes he started inching closer and closer to me. I was like, "What the fuck?" He whispered in my ear to turn around because I was facing the wall. So I turned around and he kissed me and I was shocked. We started talking, and turns out we have a lot in common. After about a half an hour we started watching a movie and cuddled together. I ended up falling asleep on his chest. The next morning he was on the floor sleeping and I was very confused. I started thinking it was all a dream, but he got up and sat next to me and kissed my forehead. I asked him why he was on the floor and he said our parents came to check on us so he had to get down. Anyway, we cuddled and watched movies all day. He ended up moving away to Texas and I'm in Florida, so we're trying to make long distance work. By the way, thank you for all the love in part 1.
Story time. So this was 2 years ago and I was at school and it was a normal day until the principal went on the speaker and said, "We're in lockdown, go in your closets." So we went ahead and went in the closets. We were all confused. Some people were scared. Everyone was like kind of asking the teacher what was going on and stuff. Now during this time I wasn't asking anything or saying anything because I knew during a lockdown you don't want to say anything. So if there is someone in the school, they won't find where you are. But I was still listening to them because I was curious like everyone else. So while everyone was asking the questions, one girl stood up and said, "If you're not going to say what's going on, I'm going to get out of the closet." The teacher yelled at her and told her no. And the teacher yelled loud, so whoever was in the school obviously heard. So the door opened and everyone became silent. And so basically for part 2, welcome to part 2. Okay, so the guy that came into our school was a prisoner that escaped prison. So he was like, "Where are you?" And he stood in there for at least 10 minutes. Then we thought he left, but he was completely silent, and the teacher gave us a look saying, "Do not talk and do not move." So we all listened to the way he looked, and my best friend, the girl that stood up saying she would leave, got up and left. She thought that the guy was gone and she was going to get a counselor. So as soon as she got out of the room, we heard gunshots. As soon as the gunshots said that, I knew immediately what happened. I started crying and I thought that she was dead. The guy didn't even try to come in the room that we were in, even though he knew where we were. He immediately left knowing that he should have not shot the girl. Wait for part 3. Welcome to part 3. So as soon as the guy left, we got out of the closet and started panicking. We didn't know what to do since she was shot in the head and we knew that she wouldn't make it. So we were all freaking out and so was I, and I was crying and I just couldn't breathe right and I didn't know what to do. The speaker went off saying that the police and the ambulance were coming since the principal heard a gunshot too. So when the police came, they found the guy who was hiding in a locker and he got contained and taken to the police office. The ambulance were here and went in the room and took her. They said with their face, saying she would not make it. That was the worst day of my life. So the ambulance took her, and about 2 days later, we weren't allowed to go to the school since the guy was still on the loose. He escaped. So we all had to stay at our homes, and I visited my friend, and I didn't know she died.
So when I was in 4th grade, slime was really popular. It was so popular to the point everyone was making it and people would trade their slimes all the time. I was one of those people. I also did YouTube videos and some of the kids from my school would watch them. I basically did slime tutorials and I would sell my slimes for 50 cents. One time I got a comment from this girl named Augusty Musty. She commented on my video saying how she wanted to buy the slime I made. I said yes of course. The next day at recess we both met behind the basketball courts. I brought the slime she asked for and told her that it would cost 50 cents. This bitch said she only brought a quarter. She kept demanding me to give her the slime for a quarter so I had enough. I slapped that hoe in the head with the slime and the slime got stuck in her hair. I started putting more slime in her hair. Then when it was all in there I yanked the slime out. I swear I ripped so much hair out of her head that she looked like an egg. Her hair came out in clumps and it looked like she had lice and fleas. I pulled her hair so hard it made her shart. She pulled the most clumpy, Donald Trumpy, very lumpy, made her grumpy, Humpty Dumpty, smelled like a dumpy, made roads bumpy, made me thinky, it smelled stinky, made the boys winky, marker inky, wanna linky, I ran far, hit her with the car, went to the bar, twinkle twinkle little star, gave her scars, smoked cigars, sounded like a jaguar, went to Mars, should I have ever seen. She went to the hospital and she turned out to have bowel cancer.
When I was younger I used to go over to my friend's house a lot and his parents treated me like their own son. So like this one time I went to his house, we spent the whole day in his pool till night. So his mom told us to go take showers then go to sleep. So my friend took a shower first then went to sleep, so then it was my turn, so I got in the shower and the tub was huge, it was like hot tub kind of. So I was just standing there under the water for like 5 minutes, then I realized there was no soap. So I was calling for my friend to bring me some soap and he didn't answer, but then I heard him knock on the door and I said, "You can come in. Just hand it to me through the shower curtain." So then the door opened and I saw a hand holding the soap sticking in through the shower curtain and I was like, "Thanks." Then in my head I was like, wait a sec, why does he have nail polish on? Then I realized it was his mom. So then she asked me if I needed any help washing and I was like, I'm naked, that's weird. And she was like, it's okay, you're like. One time I was sitting in church and I had to fart. I knew it would be dangerous considering I have a supernatural asshole. I felt it coming and the next thing you know the building starts vibrating and the sprinklers got set off. The roof was starting to cave in and I knew it was coming. All the windows were shattering and the ground was wobbling. I did the most chunky, monkey, funky, stunky, bed bunky, tree trunky, gunky, skunky, sloppy, ploppy, moppy, gloppy, mushy, tushy, ooshy gooshy, sushi fart so powerful I needed to get stitches. The walls started to crack and everyone was screaming while hiding under their chairs praying because they thought God was coming down. The danger alarm went off and everyone was calling their family saying they loved them. The roof finally caved in causing more destruction and my whole splitting fart finally stopped. Everyone got out from under the chairs and looked around. There was rubble everywhere and even the brick walls was cracked. They were wondering where God is and I had to act concerned with them. Anyways, my fart made it on the news and was titled as California's most deadliest earthquake. Little did they know it was my ripper ass. So y'all remember how PE teachers used to make you run the mile in elementary school? Well boy do I have a fucking story for you. So I was out on the field running my second lap and my stomach started hurting because my fucking mom decided to buy McDonald's for breakfast. So I asked the teacher if I could go to the bathroom and that bitch ass Trump gorilla looking motherfucker said no, so I just kept running and prayed to Michael Jackson that it would go away. So I'm on my third lap and I have to fart. And on God I pulled an Essa Barrett. So much shit came out that I could literally make a 4-course meal with it. And a chocolate fountain for dessert. I was about to fucking cry. Obviously I wasn't gonna tell my teacher that I shit myself, so I just said I felt like I was gonna throw up. So I go to the clinic literally holding my hands on my ass so nobody would see my shit. When I get to the clinic the nurse tells me to sit down, but in my head I'm like, bitch, if I sit down your chair is gonna look like the chocolate river from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So I just lean on the wall until my mom comes to pick me up. When I stand up off the wall to go to the bathroom my shit is smeared on the wall and the nurse looks at it and she's like, what the fuck? Was that you? And I was like, ew, hell no, and I run to the bathroom and my whole ass had shit on it, and when my mom picked me up I started crying because she asked what smelled like dog shit and she thought she stepped in something and I had to tell her it was my ass.
Story time of how I got caught doing the nasty with my best friend. So me and her were like very close. So like every weekend I would go to her house and she would come to my house. This weekend though, I decided to go to her house. So as my friend's mom is opening the door, I look over and on the couch they got popcorn and everything. So I'm like, okay, we finna watch a movie. Oh yeah, and by the way, me and my best friend were 12 and 13. And we both were lesbian. But neither of our parents knew that. And so basically we sat down and we started watching a scary movie. And me personally, I'm not scared of scary movies at all. But my best friend, on the other hand, she's terrified of scary movies. So me and her mom basically convinced her to watch a scary movie with us. And as the movie's getting scarier and scarier, my best friend starts to get closer to me. Then she starts rubbing her hand up my thigh. And we both told her mom that we were tired and wanted to go to bed. So we're headed to her room, come back for part 2.
My friend's mom tried to stab me and my sister. Story time. Yes, honey, you heard that right. She tried to stab us with a knife. So at the time, me and my sister were 8 and 9 years old. And we went to the pool every single day. And we eventually made friends with this boy. We're gonna call him Tomato. Then our parents ended up making friends with Tomato's mom. Like, they ended up becoming really good friends. And after a couple months, Tomato eventually asked me and my sister to spend the night. Well, our parents surprisingly said yes. This is the one time, and the one time only, I wish my parents would have said no. Well, anyways, we went to the sleepover. By the way, it was our first sleepover we've ever been to. So we get there around 5 and we're having a blast. We made forts, we watched DT, we ate popcorn. For our first sleepover, it was going wonderful. However, the whole time we were at this sleepover, his mom was in her room. 11 p.m. comes around and the mom comes out of her room, smelling like alcohol. She was drunk. The whole time we were at this sleepover, his mom was in her room. 11 p.m. comes around and the mom comes out of her room, smelling like alcohol. She was drunk. And she comes out and she starts screaming at us. She thought we were home invaders. Then she goes in the kitchen and grabs a knife.
One day in elementary school, it was lunchtime. A bitch had to go potty. It was poo-poo time. So I remember I went to the restroom and I was exploding or whatever. And these girls walked in. We're gonna call them the Chipettes, okay? This is the best part. So the Chipettes start yelling in the bathroom. Is someone here? Can someone hear me? Like, I didn't say anything. I was literally taking a shit. Like, what? These girls, deadass, start laughing. They turn off the lights in the bathroom. They turn on all the sinks, whatever. And they start saying like Bloody Mary or some shit. And then the Chipettes run out of the bathroom and shut the door. So here I am getting casted on. I remember seeing a shadow. I fell on my ass and I start screaming and so here I am getting casted on. I remember seeing a shadow. I fell on my ass and I start screaming and crying. It wasn't good. So someone called the janitor. Janitor walks in to check up on me. It's a guy.